As a lifelong gamer, I've always prided myself on playing games wherever I wanted to or needed to, depending on exclusivity of said game. And if that meant buying multiple platforms to cater to this desire, then it was done, provided that my parents, when I was younger, or I, could afford to do so. Things haven't changed much for me these days. Games are still top priority over brand loyalty, and I may be in the minority by saying this, but power has and always will be factored into many of the platforms I buy. That said, I've gamed on many different platforms over these 37 plus years of gaming, from consoles to PC, and while PC is the most powerful gaming platform there is, I still prefer those dedicated little boxes that sit beneath my television. Welcome to the Grounded Gamer. (1982).
Only Atari makes the world's most popular home video games.
This was the year I was introduced to at-home gaming with the Atari 2600. Since those early days, generation after generation, I continued to play what I wanted, where I wanted. And over time, as these platforms got stronger, I found myself buying the more powerful consoles for my multiplayer gaming fix. Sure, I had the 16-bit Super Nintendo, but I also had to have the Sega Genesis for its blast processing power, and not to mention the red blood in games like Mortal Kombat. But I digress. Games like Aladdin, Earthworm Jim, Mortal Kombat, and all of the EA Sports games just ran better on the Genesis. Things haven't changed much these days with the more powerful console. The more powerful the console, the better these multiplats just seem to be. Sure, there are those stronger consoles that sometimes didn't produce the better product over slightly less powerful consoles, but it was a rare occurrence. So anytime a new, more capable console would come out, I've always felt, and to this day still feel the urge or need to get it. Now, over the years of buying these stronger consoles, I still bought the other platforms based on the games that were exclusive to that hardware, which brings me to a point that I wanted to make. It seems more apparent than ever that with this console generation, it has produced some of the most outspoken, platform-loyal gamers. Gamers that for some reason disapprove of where others play their games. In short, if you're not doing it on their platform of choice, well, you're doing it wrong. For example, anytime I comment or reply to someone on social media and even mention the words power and console in the same sentence, I'm always met with, "You need to buy a PC," or simply just get called a peasant, as though I've never experienced the performance difference a PC can offer. I have, and while I enjoyed my time on PC, it was never my favorite platform. I can't really explain why, outside of just saying that I just prefer a dedicated gaming box. Everything from its smaller footprint to dedicated controller, UI, chat system, and yes, even ease of use. Now, this isn't to say that gaming on a PC is hard. In fact, I know it's even easier than ever now. Still, I enjoy my console experience much more, despite its performance deficit. No matter the reasons I or anyone else gives, we all have our own opinions and preferences that should be respected. It honestly shouldn't matter where one chooses to play their games. Another point of contention I see on social media, one that is brought up to me a lot, is that power doesn't matter. It's about the games. And as I have stated at the very beginning of this video, games are top priority, but there are indeed other factors that are considered that most of these people telling you that power doesn't matter just aren't being completely honest about.
In the cutthroat video game industry, one word seems to be all-powerful.
The graphics. The graphics. Better graphics means it's more realistic.
You see, when you walk into a store and you see the latest console running that shiny new game in its kiosk, or watch the game trailer on your TV or right here on YouTube, the first thing that screams at you is power. Sure, while you watch that trailer, you might pick up on that the game might have a possible deep storyline or that fun action it may have, but it's the graphics and whatever innovations that game may be displaying that catches your eye first. This is just how our minds work. Don't believe me? Just look at comments on social media pertaining to any game that may be fun, but maybe not the most aesthetically pleasing to the eye. You'll find comments like, This looks like trash. And sometimes these comments come from the same people that push the narrative that power doesn't matter, and/or the same people that get hyped over new console specs, and maybe even own high-dollar gaming rigs. Games are always top priority, but to say power is irrelevant is just simply not true. Power will always remain important to a certain degree, but with all of these innovations and changes that I've witnessed over these 37 plus years of gaming, nothing has me more excited than the current potential shift I see hitting this industry. It seems more and more of these developers and console manufacturers want to continue to focus on the most important aspect of this hobby, the games. Less on restrictions and more on alternate ways of accessing their software, giving the gamer more options and choice than ever before. Whether it be crossplay, cross-progression, or just making these once-exclusive games accessible to more devices, these companies are making it easier to play where you want, when you want. As the industry thinks more outside the box, giving us more options, I think more gamers should stop thinking about their favorite box. With all of these fantastic games on the horizon, new, more capable consoles coming soon, and new ways of accessing our games in the future, the concern of where someone else plays their games should hopefully become less of an argument for even the most staunchest of platform loyalists. As a traditional native hardware kind of guy, I am, and for as long as the platform is available, will continue to be a console gamer. With that said, I know that these companies are trying to create alternate revenue streams, and what better way than to try and reach 2 billion untapped gamers? After all, it's the mobile market itself that generates over half of what the entire gaming industry brings in every year. Between mobile gaming and other devices such as, yes, even traditionally competitive platforms, the key here for these companies, or any business for that matter, is to make the most profits they can. Software is king. It's not only what we as gamers value most, but it just so happens to be what draws in the most revenue for these companies. So it's really not a huge surprise that these companies are looking less at exclusivity and more at reaching a wider audience. It's a simple business concept to understand here. The more software sold, the more profits received. Now, with game streaming, we can talk latency and data caps, but the real success here for these services will mainly be contingent on the quality of software. Without high-quality games, these services from any of these companies just won't be sustainable. Think Netflix without any of the great content they pump out. It just wouldn't work. Now, just so we're clear, when I mentioned all of this innovation has me excited, it's not about the game streaming for me, but more so it's about the focus shift to the software itself, and the fact that these games will eventually be accessible not only to more devices, but gamers everywhere. Meaning that regardless of platform, we can all eventually play what we want without barriers. Despite these inevitable changes ahead, I am not worried about these services taking the place of traditional hardware, and you shouldn't either. There's way too many hurdles to overcome for that to happen. Now, as console gamers, if there's anything I could do to help ease your mind about consoles going away, remember, these services are just options. And as long as there are gamers like us who demand traditional consoles, they aren't going anywhere. I love this platform, and as I've stated earlier, I love the power in this platform, and I will continue to buy this platform. Make no mistake, this hobby has always been and will always be about the games. Going forward, regardless of any of these changes happening around us in the future, this is what it'll always be about. The games. The increasing options to access those games are just that, options. They don't dictate where you play your games, and you, like me, can continue to take pride in playing these games where you want. This has been The Grounded Gamer, and I just want to thank everybody who subscribed to this channel the last couple of days. I really appreciate it. The comments, the interactions, they've been great. And those of you that are new to this channel, if you like what you see here, please consider subscribing. I would appreciate it so much if you would. Just trying to grow this channel. I want more positivity out there in the gaming community, and this is what I'm trying to do here. So if you're down with that and you like what you hear, please hit that like button, that subscribe button. I'd appreciate it so much. And until next time, try to be the best possible you, be kind to one another, and of course, as usual, game on.